Buddy, my name is Gavin. And today I was just going to talk about a lot of the whole political views in Canada and how it affects our life and basically what each party stands for. So my last two videos were basically summing up the Canadian 2019 federal election, how everyone votes. I want to talk about why they vote that way. So, like, so, um, right now, as you know, we have a liberal government under Justin Trudeau. And we have a conservative opposition under Andrew Scheer. Before that, we had a conservative government for 10 years under Stephen Harper, who was the former Prime Minister of Canada. So, I don't know. A lot of me thinks that Justin Trudeau got voted um, because and I'm not going to show any of my political opinion in this video. That's not why I'm here. My channel will probably be based around reporting what happens in elections. I'm just getting into how each party votes, how the people of Canada vote, and how where the liberal base are and the conservative base are. Why do they vote? So conservatives vote because for most of the time they believe that they're skeptical on climate change. They're meh towards the LGBT community. They believe that we should focus more on building jobs instead of taking them away, and we should lower taxes for everybody. They believe all those things. The liberals um, believe that we should be able to focus more on climate change, and they are in full support of the LGBT community. They are in full support of immigration, legal or illegal, because they believe that there should be more diversity in Canada, whereas the conservatives believe there should be less. And both I can understand. So I want to make it clear. When I'm talking in these videos, I can understand both points. I can understand right wing and left wing. I can understand why people would vote for each. Um, Conservatism supports is against abortion because they believe they support something called pro-life. So they believe that people should not be able to kill an embryo or a fetus or a baby while it's still in the mother's stomach. Now the left supports the fact that they should be because it is a woman's right. So I can understand, I can understand both. There's one that I don't agree with, but there's also one that I do agree with. But I can understand both. I can understand why both would vote this way. I can understand why you would think this way. Um, I'm not sure about government size. I'm not sure policy support who, because I'm pretty sure. Although one says they support small government, they don't really. I'd say most would go for a larger government. Um, However, so liberals are much more center than the NDP. So if I had to put them on a scale, uh, let me see. So if I had to put them on a scale, I would put the NDP on the far left, the conservatives on the sort of right. They're like small C right now. However, a half of it could be divided and put on the large C. And I put the PPC. I'd actually put, so that's the People's Party of Canada. I would put them as further right. I think they are further right than the Conservative Party right now. So when you see about how you can tell, because when the NDP talk about Donald Trump, and when Justin Trudeau talks about Donald Trump, so Justin Trudeau was trying to find all the good things about Donald Trump. He was saying, "Oh, he's open to listening," whereas the NDP straight up called Donald Trump a fascist. So there are definitely different scales of how the left works. There's center left, there's center right, there's far left, and then there's far right. And I'm pretty sure that's basically it. There's also something called the alt right, but that's not really something you can put on a political scale. That's just a bunch of extremists who believe it's okay, who believe the Nazi movement was correct. Like, for example, the media. Well, the media is kind of putting the alt right at a weird spot right now. So they're calling PewDiePie a member of the alt right, whereas he's not. So they're saying that he is a Nazi because he interacted with some. I'm not going to get into it. I'm here to talk about Canadian politics, not mainstream things, because we don't really have too many, except for the CBC, sort of. Okay, so let's get down to the business. So I don't know. I need a better system. I need a better recording system. However, I tried to find some information on this. I couldn't find any. So this was back at the Abacus. So let's see. So, I was here in my last video. So, 53% who vote for Justin Trudeau. That's the left. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are on the left side. However, they are not completely left. So, it goes like this. The Bloc does not fit anywhere on the political scale because their intention is just for Quebec nationalism. However, the other 5 parties that I will talk about, the People's Party, the Greens, the NDP, the Conservatives, and the Liberals, they all fit on the scale. So, there's only one party that fits on the right. That's the Conservatives. Actually, no, there's 2. I messed that up. There's 2. The far right, the People's Party, and then there's a sort of split between small c and large c between the Conservative Party. Because I would describe Andrew Scheer as a large C conservative. There's small c conservatives. Small c are people who are not completely, completely on board all the conservative ideologies, all the conservative ideas. They might be a little more open when it comes to climate change or when it comes to abortion. But large C conservatives are all for all the ideologies of the conservatives, and the big, the people who are on the far left are also for all the liberals, like the NDP. They hate the conservatives. However, the liberal are kind of leaning towards farther left now, because the they've never been in a good relationship, but I feel as though some of the political parties were able to work together to create an actual strong country, whereas I could never see a far left working with a far right. I could never see that happening. That's why the NDP and the Liberals, during the Harper campaign, they got into so much fights. And not to say that the Liberals and the Conservatives don't, because the Liberals are obviously on the left, but the NDP is farther left. So let's take an example, and I already did this example, but Thomas Mulcair, when talking about Donald Trump, he called him a fascist. Justin Trudeau tried to look at the positives. And as a diplomat, I would probably try to look at the positives, but yeah, I would. That's why, when you're more near the center, you have to center people who are in the center are trying to be open towards each ideology. If you're on one side, you support the ideas and you hate the ideas of the other side. If you're on the other side, you hate the ideas of the other side. If you're in the center, you can lean towards each of these ideas and you can vote either way. That's why when you vote provincial, you vote differently provincial, you vote differently federal, you vote differently municipal, because there are different things you want to see in your government. So let's just take this as an example, so don't get angry at me. So let's say you vote liberal. You vote liberal, and you want to see a liberal federal government. But when it comes to your your provincial race. You don't know what to do. You see the Liberals have a lot of backlash on them. They have a lot of scandals, and you see that's not very good choice. And then you see in a week you see like a weak NDP party. You can't vote for that. You're like, what's happening? How am I supposed to vote? And then you see the Conservatives, and you say, okay, so let's just take this as an example. Let's say this person is on the left, but they're not on the far left. So they would be, oh, so how am I supposed to vote? Well, I guess I have to vote for this person because he has at least some quality of a leader. So, like people who are close to the center, not too far on the left or too far on the right, vote can vote for different parties. That's why Donald Trump won the election, because Hillary Clinton said things that, well, didn't say things. She had many things that were bad, like scandals. She had emails. Like they basically, in that case, for the United States election, it was basically a lesser of two evils. That's how they saw it. That's how they viewed it. That's why people who are closer to the center voted for Donald Trump. That's why he won. Not all the reasons. It's because many people didn't even get up to vote, even though there was a large vote count for this one. And I'm not even from the United States, so I can't really talk. But the reason Justin Trudeau won was because so many people who are small C conservatives who vote conservative and voted Stephen Harper for 10 years wanted to see a new government. Because Stephen Harper, at the beginning, he was loved by all the Canadians, and then when you get older in your political career, and he still has tons of support in Alberta because that is actually where he's from. He supports the oil industry, which is definitely a conservative factor because the Conservatives are for building more jobs in the coal and oil industry. That's what they are for, because it helps. They say it helps, and yes, it does help. But the Liberals think it's a good idea to shut down those jobs because they need to focus on building more renewable energy sources. So there's climate, and then there's climate, there's environment, there's future, and then there's the jobs, and the jobs build the future on their side. So I understand both sides. But I'm again, let's get back to the topic. So Stephen Harper, who was in power for 10 years as a conservative, many people who were flexible because they were in the center, of the left and the right, the liberals and the conservatives, and then the NDPs. So the NDPs, in 2011, they were the official opposition, and it was because the left vote was getting very angry. The Liberal Party was not doing nearly enough to win any elections. So the NDP had to step up. That's why. But now it's a case between the Liberals and the Conservatives for 2019. And it's going to be very interesting. So the flexible voters. So the Conservatives can win. So I'm getting into how they can win in 2019. They can win from flexible voters. People who choose NDP will most likely not switch to Conservatives because the NDP ideologies, the green ideologies, both of them, they do not see the right wing as something that can be tolerated. They think that the ideologies of the right wing, they think that their ideas are completely false. Whereas the liberals, some flexible people who on the left, understand why the people on the right vote for who they vote for. They understand why they vote. They can understand the concept of both parties. They can understand that. But if you're on, it's the same on the other side. If you're on the far right, you cannot understand why people would vote for the left. You think that their ideologies are completely false. You think that you don't see any logic in their ideas. And even I can understand why some might not see logic in some ideas. So, but people in the center, they can see the ideas in both. And that's why voters are so flexible in Canada. So that's why our election in 2019.